Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the weekly race of FF4 Free Enterprise. I'm Pidge01, and I'm joined by Blaze tonight.
Hey, Pidge, how you doing tonight? Pretty excited about this race. Looks like we got 13 people signed up for this one. We're going to be showcasing 4 of them here. We got Scratch Dragon, Simbu, Kinda Nerdy Housewife, and Chokasura.
Oh, cool. Great selection of runners we got tonight. And tonight's flags actually look very interesting. I was like, I signed up for commentary just because I wanted to help. I've been away for a while. But then I saw the flags and I was like, oh, you know what? I kind of wish I had joined this race because these flags actually look super fun.
Yeah, I agree. I actually was so excited about these flags. I loaded up a seed this morning with them just to kind of take it out for a test drive. And oh man, it was fun. It was just the right amount of broken, and it was fast, fast, fast. So I'm really excited to see what these runners can do with.
Did you have like any kind of cool, like interesting situations that happened in the seed you played earlier?
So to start off with, just to kind of preview the flag set a little bit, if you watched the World Series of Free Enterprise a couple months ago, this is very similar to the Appleseed flag set. The main difference being there's no apples, so it's not nearly as broken at the end of the game as what you might be used to seeing from that. The end game is going to be very similar to a lot of our other seeds. But everything else is pretty much totally overpowered. The one interesting scenario I ran into, Pidge, was you'll notice the PS flag, which means the pass is in a shop. And the shop where my pass happened to be was actually on the moon. So I had the crystal relatively early, and I could not find the pass. And that meant I had to kind of track down the darkness crystal.
I actually played a seed like that recently, and that was such a pain. Pass on the Moon is like the biggest troll, and I love it.
Yeah, I mean, and the other interesting thing, we'll see how this plays out, but you'll also notice the no sirens flag. So there's going to be some interesting grind options potentially, or we might see some of our runners go into the Zeromus fight relatively early or low level, because unless they find the darkness crystal, they're probably not going to have a great grind option available to them. So we might see some D machine grinds, or we might just see people winging it, or crossing their fingers and going for it.
Yeah, the day machine play seems like it would be a good idea, even though it is kind of out of the way. I wonder if we're going to see anybody go for just grinding off random encounters in the moon, like invented during Limit Break.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. There's a couple factors that'll play into that for sure. But the one thing that you definitely want for a D machine grind is a mage like Fu, who has the weak spell. And since we're starting with Fu, he's not going to be fully powered like he was in the Appleseed flag set, but he's going to be very powerful when you get to that.
Absolutely. What I find kind of interesting about K1 is that like the checks that you're doing to look for your key items are they're not that many. So I feel almost like maybe Fusai might not have all the spells we want. Oh, and it looks like we're getting started.
Yeah.
Really? Palum. Interesting. Interesting. Oh, and an earth crystal. Well then.
So that's already kind of an interesting thing right off the bat. Just because with a Fusoya, there's a lot of power going on here. So I'll be curious to see if people want to run up and do that Zot check, which is actually just one of the slowest in the game. So we'll see how they manage this early game. It's going to be pretty interesting.
Already got quite the variance in where everybody's going right at the start.
Absolutely. We got Simbu doing a character check. We've got Scratch Dragon headed straight for Toroya, kind of nerdy housewife checking, and Chokasura looks like kind of checking out.
I'm happy that Simbu found the playable pain.
That's got to be a sign.
Because I was destined to commentate this race tonight.
So the other another interesting wrinkle in this flag set is we've got the S4 flag with free items. So you probably are going to notice all of our runners not only checking the item shops, but probably, if I was to guess, checking weapon and armor shops as well.
Yeah, you never know when you might find an adamant armor in like a random armor shop, or like even ribbons, protect rings. Like you can find lots and lots of good stuff in it is S4 after.
Absolutely. And notice Chokasura checked out the two characters in Baron. It looks like he found everybody's favorite trader, Kane, and the old man.
Ooh, we got the Pain Man and the Cane Man. Interesting.
We're going to see our first key item check here as well. The no free lunch flags are both off, so Edward's going to give us the pan, it looks like, today.
Yeah, I feel like if NK was turned on, I'd go fight the bosses in Mist Cave and Watery Pass to like look for Demist, but also power up Fusoya. But it looks like that's not actually worth it tonight, just meaning like we might not see as many spells on Fusoya as we normally.
Yeah, there's kind of an interesting tension I found when I was playing earlier, where you kind of want to do some of the key item checks that normally we hate, like ordeals, for example, because it's got three bosses for you. Even though normally you would probably save that, especially if you had the ability to go do some different ones.
Unfortunately, not a whole lot of interesting stuff in the Troya treasure.
Yeah, and I understand the temptation to go check all those chests. It is a little bit interesting to see some of the looting that's going on, considering that the S4 flag is on with free items as well. And you're going to be checking a lot of shops and stuff anyway, so I think it's reasonable to definitely go do some looting, but I'll be curious to see as we go along how much looting our runners actually do versus just trying to build up their inventory through the shops.
Yeah, I find like going for chests is a lot less enticing when I have access to shops, but sometimes like, oh, and there's so many chests in one location, it's just so tempting to check for something.
It really is. Oh, and so that was funny. So Scratch Dragon kind of did what you suggested there, Pidge, and he went to go check the Demist boss spot, and unfortunately ran into the gauntlet and just reset out. So those three extra spells on Fu, not worth that 6-round fight, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely not. I don't blame him one bit. Have we seen what spells Fusoya got to start with?
I haven't seen anybody check his spell list yet, but I'm sure we'll see that pretty soon here.
So he goes to Watery Pass and gets the other cloaked blue guy.
Those blue robes, they're all over the place so far.
Chokosura finding a Sid and Damsian. Don't think that he ended up taking him. I may have missed that though. I just saw a Sid, and then I saw there was a screen with no characters on it.
Yeah, I would say so far it's definitely interesting to see several of our runners, Simbu and Chokasura, definitely are kind of prioritizing character checks over some of the other things. We haven't even gotten to Antlion yet. Scratch Dragon looks like he's going to be the first runner to head down that way now. So we'll start seeing, I imagine, in pretty quick succession, some of these key item checks as well now.
It looks like Scratch Dragon is opting to skip most of the chests that are not really on his way, which is, I think, a good idea. Going for chests in Antlands kind of out of the way when you have access to free shops.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. And yeah, pointing out in chat, Questper Warkin pointing out that Chokasura actually did just ditch Fu for the time being, presumably for the time being.
Yeah, I noticed that. That's interesting. That's probably not a bad idea. If Fu doesn't have very many good spells, then maybe he might be good to leave behind until you start fighting more bosses.
I could see that for sure. And it looks like Scratch Dragon took care of the Elements boss. Antlion got the spoon, and Simbu's taking care of Fabul.
So Scratch Dragon's Fusoya just learned Warp. That's going to be very good if they end up doing the Dwarf Castle chat.
Absolutely. One of the things we haven't talked about at all yet is the glitches that are enabled tonight, and we've got the MP underflow glitch. We've got the warp glitch, which is where you can warp in Dwarf Castle to get the sealed cave item as well, and we've got our usual life glitch. And it looks like Simbu picked up the magma key from Fabul, so he's all set to go underground now.
Scratch Dragon finding a white mage. Oh yeah, Wheelbear brings up an interesting point. Scratch Dragon might not realize the free characters is turned on because Porum is his first recruit, and she is at Mount Hobbs. He hasn't done any of the free character checks yet.
Yep, that's entirely possible. Also notice down here, Chokasura found adamant armors in a shop somewhere, so he's pretty much impervious to everything for the rest of the game here.
I believe that was the Massidia armor shop. I think if Scratch Dragon opts to do Mount Ordeals, he's going to be in for a rude surprise.
Oh, and we got a Pain Man bringing the pain.
Heck yeah, we've seen both Pain Men tonight. I'm a big fan. My favorite thing ever with like the renaming function is when Kane gets renamed to Pain.
That is pretty great. I've seen that a few times, and I always think of you when it happens.
Aww. Yeah. DJ ATC in chat. Very good point. Smith City is still strongest armor in the game and loses their crystal at the start of the game. Yeah, it'd be like that sometimes.
They make all that amazing armor, but then they're pretty much pacifists when it comes right down to it.
We forgot to install Cecil protection on our adamant armors.
I didn't see what Scratch Dragon got from the Baron Inn, but I'm thinking, based on Scala Kitty's response, that it was maybe the Twin Harp.
I was looking at Kind of Nerdy Housewife's interesting decision to pick up the chest. I wonder if she's like banking on finding an adamant armor or something else in the chest.
Yeah, I mean, it's very reasonable, especially if you know that the chests are all really good as well, because we've got T4, S4. Some people really just still enjoy opening those chests and finding out what those items are. One other thing to pass along that I noticed, Simbu found the pass in the Agart shop, so no pass on the moon Doom scenario like we were maybe concerned about, or we talked about at the beginning.
Very good news for our runners. So, Scratch Dragon heading up Ordeals, he was just given the realization that free characters is turned on, so I'm wondering if he's going to be doing some checks after he's done up.
That's entirely possible, and we also have Chokasura who got the Baron key off of Mount Ordeals, so kind of a lot of different ways to go on the overworld right now, and we've got Simbu as the only one who's gotten that underworld access so far as well.
Where was the underworld access from? Was that from Fabul?
It was.
Yeah, since Pan was the free key item from Edward, maybe some of the other runners are gonna wait until maybe they want to think about waiting until they get underground to do Fabul, like on their way back from the Pan, but not gonna work out too well if that's where the Magma Key is.
Well, the other interesting thing here, and I assume this isn't an oversight, but Simbu doesn't have the pan lit up, so we can maybe try to check his items next time he opens it, but he may not have stopped for that free key item.
Yeah, in fact, it looks like only Chokosura has the Pan lit up.
Okay, well, I know for a fact at least a few more of our runners went. I guess until I find out otherwise, we'll assume they all have the pan.
Kind of nerdy housewife grabbing the spoon. She's going to be very happy with that when she goes to grab Edward from Baronin. If she goes to grab Edward from Baron.
We can only hope.
I'm excited for the spoon word possibilities in the seed, but given that its free characters turned on, I'm not too hopeful.
And Simbu picks up the Sand Ruby as the free key item in the Land of Summoned Monsters. Now, there really isn't anything else here other than the shops in this format, so we'll see what else he opts to check before he heads out.
Did anybody check the Ben and Kaipo? I guess it's not like terribly impertinent to check it when you have free characters turned on.
I saw somebody check it. I believe it was Rosa.
Oh, okay. I had a suspicion it was Rosa. Ooh, Artemis arrows in Land of Summons and Dragoon Spears. Not bad if you find Edge. I mean, you also have Kane, but having 99 free Dragoon Spears to toss, that'd be kind of nice.
Yep, make Zeromus look like a dartboard at the end of the game, if that happens.
Speaking of dartboards, Evil Wall kind of looks like one, but not right now. We don't have Edge. So it looks like Simbu is going to go make the pan check now.
Yep, he's just kind of cruising through the underworld while some of our other racers here are really just kind of focused on the overworld part. It's going to be interesting to see how deep into the overworld checks some of our runners go, because we've got the Earth Crystal and we've got the Baron Key early on. Now, those are not particularly difficult checks, but they are a little bit time consuming. So be curious to see sort of how everybody kind of manages time efficiency versus maybe challenge level.
Chokosur picks up his Magma Key. So no one's done Earth Crystal yet, which is honestly pretty smart. That's quite a big dip.
Yeah, I'm not surprised by that. I when I did some of my personal testing in the game, even with easy bosses, Earth Crystal is the slowest check in the entire game. So. And boy, Sheila does not have a lot of value other than the fact that she just gave Simbu 2 more key items. She gives him the Luca key, which is essentially, I don't want to say it's worthless in this format because it actually is a pretty interesting grind option. But you don't actually need to go through all the way to get the sealed cave key item because of the warp glitch. And then also the package, which I would be very shocked if any of our runners check in this format.
Now that you mention it, Luca Key is actually more interesting than I thought it would be, because once again we have no sirens in the seed, meaning that grind options are quite limited. And one of the better grind options when you're limited is to fight the trapdoors in Sealed Cave. And we have free adamant armor, so they can't use Disrupt on anybody. That's actually not a terrible idea.
Yeah, I mean, it's if you can't find the darkness crystal, it's not the worst option out there for sure. And I think this is going to be with this loadout with the adamant armors and everything else that our runners are going to have by then. You could probably just go in at relatively low levels and have not too much trouble with the Zeromus fight. So
Yeah, especially with the kind of armor that you're probably going to get in S4, like as we've already seen. Adamant armors and protect rings, very nice. They can find ribbons, they'll have the nice trifecta there. But yeah, best option I think for levels still would probably be to go to D Machine, since they have Fusoya and a full powered Tella, and that could be two guys that can cast weak.
indeed, and People's Champion Scratch Dragon headed in for the Twin Harp fight here, so we're going to get some randomized music very shortly. Not able to hear it on my end right now, but chat, please call it out. Let us know what it is.
Kind of nerdy housewife also getting her access to the underworld. I guess Scratch Dragon is the only one that hasn't done the football check yet. He might be banking on getting Megma Key before having to do the pan check, but that's not going to work out.
Some Secret of Mana music, very nice.
I just played through that game for the first time recently with one of my friends. It's very good. Always a very good option for Twin Heart music.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things about that game is the fact that you can do a two-player version. So,
I have the multi-tap too, but I don't think I know enough people that would want to co-op that game at the same time. Scratch Dragon finding the Nope Noodle. Oh, I love that name. I absolutely love that name for Ogopogo.
got some quality Canadian content for you.
Oh, Simbu finding the Demus check that we don't actually need to do in this flag set.
Yep, and we'll see what we get here. If nothing else, Scratch Dragon just unlocked Nuke.
Ooh. Oh my goodness. Scratch Dragon with the Galaxy Brain Plays.
Lots of Secret of Mana music for everybody tonight. Very nice.
So Scratch Dragon hasn't gone underground, but where did you say the pass was again?
The pass was in Agart, so yeah, they should be able to find it relatively soon. Chokasura is about to do Twin Harp again, get a little encore here.
It's theoretical go mode. The only problem is that Scratch Dragon doesn't have access to any real good grinding options right now.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the interesting challenge of this seed, the way it plays out. We'll see what Simbu gets here out of these two key item checks that are accessible through Dwarf Castle. If Darkness Crystal's one of them, I suspect our runners won't have too much trouble, but if that Darkness Crystal's buried pretty deep and the Luca key, I believe, was a pan check, I mean, it could be, that could make pretty much the difference is how people grind.
Yeah, I think you're right. With no sirens, there's no like real clear cut, oh, if this person does this many eggs and they're first to go to Zeromus. It really depends on the decisions that the runners are going to take now. Oh my goodness. Thank you, DJ, for those 10 tier 1 sub gifts. Hey, I got one too. Thanks a lot.
Enjoy your Twin Harp and your 17 out of 17 emotes. They're very, very nice.
I'll just post Pain Man playing the Twin Harp.
That is canon, I'm pretty sure. And Chokosura has his crystal now too. So half of our runners now have half of Go mode, and we'll see about Simbu here. He's actually got the pass, so he's also got half a Go mode, just the other half.
That's right. I'm wondering how many people checked the aggro shop.
I suspect with the magma key in play, everybody should remember to check it. So, and Simbu strikes out on the darkness crystal now. So he got the hook and legend sword out of Dwarf Castle / sealed cave. So kind of back to the drawing board for him now. He's going to have to figure out which of these checks he wants to do next.
He is quickly approaching 10 key items. He's got 8 right now, I believe, if I'm counting correctly.
That'll definitely help, but at the same time, as soon as any of our other runners kind of pick up the pace here, I was actually noticing it was kind of funny earlier with Simbu's checks. When he had, I believe, 5 or even maybe 6 key items, he'd only fought one boss so far, so his Fusoya only had 600 hit points still.
Most likely what we're going to see now, Scratch Dragon picking up the magma key, probably going to make a check in the item shop here.
Chokosura bypassed the item shop unless I'm mistaken.
Very interesting.
I mean, it's one of those things, again, especially with the more competitive racers, they're not used to playing with the PS flag, so it can be a hard thing to remember sometimes that you literally, your livelihood in a lot of ways actually kind of depends on you checking all of the shops.
Scratch Dragon's going for it. He's gonna find the pass here. Do you ever buy 99 passes just to flex?
I probably have if it was the free items like this, but definitely not in any other circumstance.
Yeah, I only do it with flags. These flags turned on. I remember like a long time ago, I was in a call with Inven, and we were just like playing through a seat on screen share with free items turned on. I just bought 99 passes. He's like, "Did you just buy 99 passes?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "All right."
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, I wasn't around at the time, but I've heard that back in like the very first iteration of free enterprise, if you bought multiple passes, they counted as a key item back then, and the game didn't realize that they were all passes, so you could like buy your way to 10 key items if you wanted to.
Oh goodness. Chat's raising some very good points. We do need 99 passes to kill Zeromus 99 times, and the moon is quite lovely.
I mean, I prefer my Zeromus punch card, which is after you kill him 10 times, you get the 11th one for free. So we're kind of seeing our runners crisscrossing a lot right now because we actually know most of what's out there, with the exception of the Baron Key and the Tower of Zot. I think everything else has been checked at this point. And so it's going to be interesting to see, like for Scratch Dragon, for example, I assume he's probably just going to maybe go for 10 key items and then figure out a grind option. But with, you know, our other runners, how long are they gonna be digging for the other things that they need before the magic happens?
Yeah, I think you're right on that. We got a couple. Simbu and Kind of Nerdy Housewife are both picking up what's going to be their Baron Key. Well, Simbu already got it. Shokosura going for the pan check. I have to wonder if he's like kind of kept a note of which shops he's checked so far. Just in case it comes down to the point where he's like, okay, I really don't know where this pass is.
It's definitely possible. We'll just have to kind of keep tabs on that. I believe Scratch Dragon, I'm kind of counting a little bit in my head here. Once he does his pan turn-ins, although he's actually going to do Dwarf Castle as well, I thought he would have exactly 10 key items after doing pan, but we'll see. He may just be checking the shop as well.
I just realized that we're going to hear Twin Heart music 4 times tonight. Or
That's
we're going to see Twin Heart 4 times, yeah.
That, you can't ask for anything more when you turn in for a free Enterprise race, so...
So I guess Scratch Dragon's decision to do Dwarf Castle, I would guess that's because he's still looking for either a Darkness Crystal or a Luca Key to get some level grinding done.
I mean, at this point, he really doesn't have a lot of good grind options, so it seems reasonable for me just to kind of... I mean, you're probably hunting for, like we were kind of talking about, either the Darkness Crystal or the Luca Key, and he just hasn't found either of them yet, so you just kind of keep digging.
Yeah, even though he's got Go mode, his team's probably not quite powerful enough to really warrant trying to take on Zeromus yet. So Dwarf Castle's a good check. It is 2 key items with the warp glitch turned on. But he hasn't done the pan check yet.
Nope. And we've got Kind of Nerdy Housewife and Simbu doing the Zot check now. Simbu had basically 3 doors in front of him, and he chose Zot. So we'll get to see a little bit of new territory here.
Yeah, Zot's an interesting choice. Another option, I guess, would have been Tower of Babel, but nobody really wants to go up there if they don't have the tower key yet.
And Chokosura just went and got his foo back, so
he does have the pass.
Oh, that's good.
Okay, so he must have skipped it the second time because he'd already been there and we all just missed it. But yeah, he did dump Fusoya earlier and then went to pick him back up after he'd done a couple boss fights. So it looks like he's right outside Toroya. I think he might be going for it.
Interesting.
He's going for the Zeromus play with no level grinding, but you know what? Chokosura is one of the best players of Free Enterprise. Very, very talented, very skilled. I'm really excited to see what kind of strategy he has for this.
Me too. I'm definitely curious to see how this goes. Maybe some Edward? I don't know. Might be some low-level Eddie stuff going on here.
Ooh, that's always exciting. The Edward percent World Series event was pretty awesome.
All right, Pidge, do you wanna take us into the Zeromus fight here with our famous tagline?
All right, everybody. Whose butt are we gonna kick tonight? Or today for those of you on the West Coast.
This is gonna be very interesting.
He's got a Pain lad with 1,000 HP. That is hilariously low for the Zeromus fight on that character.
Yep. And just kind of catching up a little bit here. Simbu's through the bosses in Zot. He's going to get his key item here in a moment. Scratch Dragon finished off the Dwarf Castle checks, so we'll see what he decides to do next. And Kinda Nerdy also, well, about to do the second boss in Zot here.
Antlion feels just like kind of a rude boss to find almost anywhere. That is quite a Zeromus sprite. He's upset that we didn't pay him a visit tonight. It's like, hey, you were supposed to come to my cave.
Indeed, that is a angry door. It's like the evil wall. This is the toothy door.
That door's just like, there were no sirens. No one found the darkness crystal. Why did none of you visit me? It was supposed to be his time to shine tonight, and he's angry. This
is true.
Trapdoor grinding. Oh, that, ooh.
Overzealous, the nice thing about this door grind is if you finish it, you just win the game.
Okay, so Chocosura took a wipe to Zeromus, attempting to do the low-level Edward strats. Looks like he's going to turn down the battle speed and maybe try it again. Oh, take the adamant off Tella maybe to... I wonder if he's going to try to change up his speed a little bit. Yeah, looks like he's doing some agility anchoring.
Yeah, he's trying to anchor Tella to the dirt here, I believe.
Yeah, that ninja hat and the adamant armor were increasing Tella's speed by quite a bit. If you have him in single digits, he might be a little more useful as an anchor on Zeromus.
And Scratch is actually going up Zot, so maybe hesitant to do anything other than a Darkness Crystal related grind, which I can totally understand. Simbu, meanwhile, finds Ashura on the throne in Baron. He is, again, kind of doing everything but the check that he needs to do in order to get his crystal, unfortunately. But I'm sure he'll be there soon enough.
Yeah, really not checking the Twin Harp, I feel, is just kind of like luck of the draw. You have a whole bunch of very slow checks you can make, and Twin Harp just kind of feels like one of those ones that's just so far out of the way.
Yeah, it's just kind of a lottery. The only thing I would say, and this is not to be critical in any way, but if you're kind of gambling that something is a whiff, you probably want to go with some, like the Earth Crystal, I believe, was the starting item. And if you kind of skip that one, you know that that's something everybody else is going to check. So if you're trying to give yourself an edge, that one, in my mind, kind of makes the most sense to skip. But again, it's all just sort of luck of the draw anyway.
I'm about to really make a really bad joke here, but I mean, if you're trying to give yourself an edge, Earth Crystal might be the good play, because he might be up.
You're not wrong.
I sincerely apologize for that.
But yeah, just in terms of like raw checks per minute, I mean, Simbu is winning this race. It's just he's not checking the right stuff. So we're seeing Zeromus fight take two here, or Doramus fight take two here on Choco's screen. And we'll see if this one goes a little bit more smoothly here.
You know, I respect that. I don't think Scratch Dragon actually did the free character checks. He's still got that Edward in his party. And that Tella. I mean, of course, you know, Tella's a good anchor and Edward's got the spoon. And, you know, Edward strats on Zeromus, but I don't, yeah, I'm not sure if he actually went for the free character checks after he got the one on Ordeals, which is interesting. He did pick up Rosa, though.
So I think Choco's probably got the timing down right now. As long as he doesn't, if he does all his inputs correctly, this should be fine. It's just gonna be kind of grinding out this fight. Sean Cass saying the boss is adorable. I couldn't agree more.
Oh my gosh. You wonder where I get my bad jokes from.
Poor Simbu. He's definitely going to end up, well, I shouldn't say definitely, but I'm pretty sure he's already got the Sand Ruby. Not 100% sure, but running up tower now with that tower key. Probably going to find his pink tail and his darkness crystal and no crystal, so that's too bad.
Chocosura's having a little bit of a better time on Zeromus this time. He got the Pain Lad Berserk, but he's going down now, and I guess Edward will have to take care of that.
Yeah, if you watch, he's just kind of managing all of the timing of the Zeromus fight with this hidden Edward. It's very well done. I really enjoy watching these like highly advanced strats like he's doing right here. I just know how technical it is, and I mean, it's really amazing when you see it done right, because it just really honestly takes one wrong input and the whole thing can just go sideways. So hopefully he can bring it home this way.
The last thing you want is a sideways evil trapdoor. Nice reflect of the virus.
Kudos to chat for all the amazing Doramus puns. Keep them coming. We're probably going to be here a while.
This is all Sean Cass's fault, and I'm okay with that.
There's always one troublemaker.
When will we see 64 Doramus? That sounds wonderful.
So the Darkness Crystal came from the tower key, and Simbu actually resets out.
He's not hurting for key items at this point.
No, I just feel bad though. I mean, I'm sure he's very frustrated with how this has all gone. So, you know, it is what it is, but I definitely feel bad for him.
Yeah, although he's been doing all these checks, probably got quite a bit of EXP from it. And, you know, from his perspective, nobody's finished yet. So, you know, you never know where everybody else is checked.
That's a good point. And again, Chokasura we're already seeing in the Zeromus fight, but as I'm sure you can tell, this is just going to take a very long time. So it's entirely possible that there's somebody who grabbed the crystal 10 key items, including the Luca key, and they tried like a trapdoor grind or something like that, and they might be able to beat him across the finish line here.
That's true. There are still 9 other racers who are not on the restream. Yeah, like Chad is saying, unfortunately, Chokasura reflected a moon veil onto Zeromus, which I've never really been in this situation, but I think that means Zeromus is going to have extremely good evade, and reviving the Pain Lad over there might not be the best idea.
Yeah, I've done that before. You can't hit him with any physical attacks for the rest of the fight now, so he is just completely reliant on spells and reflected spells. If he got Fu up and was somehow able to reflect spells off of one of his party members, he'd be able to do damage that way, but he's not going to be able to do any physical damage the rest of the fight.
It's all on you, Edward. The little Edward with 236 health. He's got to do this.
Well, everybody likes a good underdog, right?
We are all Team Edward here.
Question in chat, Black Hole should remove the Moon Veil as well. Black Hole doesn't remove anything on Zeromus, which usually is a good thing because we stick the slow effect on him, and then he can't take that off. But unfortunately, when you do something like, again, I've done that before too, where you reflect a Moon Veil onto him, yeah, it's just there forever.
Simbu now, I think he might be going up to do the Twin Harp check. He's got a little more levels than Chokasura. His 2 fighters are in the thousands for HP.
Yeah, this is very interesting to see. How this is kind of coming together here at the end. So, still waiting for Scratch Dragon to maybe figure out a grind option. The Edward strats that Chokasura is doing are very, very high level. That's not even something I personally would feel very comfortable doing. Takes a lot of practice and a lot of getting comfortable with the fight to actually be able to do it. So I know Simbu can do it. I would not be surprised if anybody else in the race knows how to do it, because it is just a very, very high level strategy.
So I find it quite interesting that Scratch Dragon hasn't gone for the door grind, even though he does have the Luca key.
Yeah, I admit that I'm a little surprised by that too, but I don't know. It's just one of those things. If you're just kind of mentally locked into doing something related to the Darkness Crystal, sometimes you might not realize that there might be another option available to you.
Yeah, perhaps. I think the trapdoor grind is a very easy one to forget about just because it is very slow.
It's also very easy just to feel like, oh, well, I'm just 1 key item check away from the Darkness Crystal, and that'll be my grind. And then suddenly you've checked 4 or 5 more spots and you still don't have the Darkness Crystal. I've definitely gotten kind of locked in that mindset as well before.
Kind of nerdy housewife getting the Legend Sword for her troubles, while Scratch Dragon is fighting the tower. Simbu is about to pick up his crystal, and Chokasura doing the cosmic brain play of using the crystal on Zeromus to bait a reflected nuke. That is incredible. I'm a big fan of that strat.
Yeah, it's really, really impressive. He's just kind of using every play in the playbook at this point.
Oh, we do have a first place finisher. Dark Cobalt has finished in the SRL channel with an official time of 46 minutes and 39 seconds. GG's to Dark Cobalt.
Absolutely, GG's to Dark Kobold. Great race.
Have to wonder what they did differently from the 4 racers that we have on the stream tonight. My guess would be trapdoor grind.
Yeah, I would say either trapdoor grind or possibly Edward strats and just a really smooth fight. I think probably one of those two things.
I'm impressed at Chokosura just chugging this race out like this. He has been hanging on.
Yeah, I gotta feel a little bit bad for him too. Probably spending a good 20 minutes in the Zeromus fight now, and then you see that first place come in front of you. It's not a great feeling, but you just gotta put your head down and persevere across the finish line.
I feel kind of bad that, like, Simbu has done almost every single check, and the only thing he hasn't found is the Darkness Crystal, like the best grind option that anybody has right now.
He's clearly thinking the low-level Eddie strats too, because he's just going right into the Zeromus fight. So he actually reset out of the Darkness Crystal. He knew.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. That was what he got from the top of the tower, right?
It was out of the tower key check. Top of tower was the pink tail.
Right. Makes sense.
Yeah, it just goes to show you, like, you know, Chokosura and Simbu both feel so comfortable with this Edward strat that it's actually just as preferred to them as going and doing a grind before the Zeromus fight.
Yeah, you have to be very, very skilled at this game to be comfortable pulling off strats like this. Like, how long has Chokosura been in the Zeromus fight? Like, he is, like, just one like minorly incorrect move with Edward, and it's all over. And he's just not having. He's doing everything right.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing a great job with this. It's just, it's too bad that Moonveil ended up on Doramus. Really slowed him down, but technically he's doing everything right still. And Scratch Dragon officially hundos the seed. 17 out of 17 gets his Darkness Crystal, and we'll see how he wants to handle this rush to the endgame now. Oh, and yeah, Christopher Warkin pointing out in chat, I guess we all just assumed Simbu had Edward. He's just going for it with Berserkers and a Fusoya with 1800 hit points, so all in on Adamant Armor, I guess.
I think he also found Protect Rings, which I think does something for your magic defense. I don't know for sure though. I always get Protect and Crystal mixed up. But yeah, his team is very low on HP, like all things considered. I wonder what he's gonna do.
I mean, if he can nerf the big bangs, everybody should be okay except for Dane and Fella. So it's maybe just going to be that kind of fight, and then you can probably grind it out with a Fusoya with an Adamant Armor and a Protect Ring on. If things do go south, you can just kind of take a little bit of time to get the team back up.
First of all, I love that his name is Fella. Second of all, yeah, if there's anybody who knows how to nerf a Big Bang, it's definitely Simbu.
Absolutely. In the meantime, we've got a second place finish on SRL. Zilch comes in second place with a time of 51 minutes and 43 seconds. So GG's to Zilch there.
Well done to Zilch.
Chokasur is just chugging along, and Scratch Dragon is going for that D machine grind.
Scratch Dragon likely going to have a very good time on the Zeromus fight if he's going for the D machine. Shoutouts to Rivers with a Simpsons reference.
That's okay, Rivers. That's okay. This is going to be really close between Simbu and Chokasura. I know it feels weird saying that since Choco's been going for so long, but he's got to be close to being done with this fight. And if Simbu can kind of grind it out here with his band of berserkers and Pusoya on healing duties, it's going to be a little bit grindy as well. So it's not for sure who's going to finish first among those two right now.
Simbu's in kind of a tight spot. Eating. Oh no, he took a wipe. He only had Fusoya left and didn't get to nerf the Big Bang because everybody else was dead.
Yeah, and that's tough. You gotta be able to nerf all those Big Bangs if you're gonna go in like this. So almost had it going, but you just sometimes the counter nukes can be the thing that really throw you off there. If the wrong person gets counter nuked, then you're kind of stuck figuring out how to salvage it.
Yeah, although you're right though, like anybody who goes into Zeromus now might be able to like at least catch up somewhat to Chokosura, because only dealing like about 1,000 damage a minute to Zeromus can, it really does take a while to finish. But I can't state enough like how impressed I am with him just sticking out this fight and going this long without making like even one single mistake. I'm just very impressed.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really stress just how active that is with your inputs. You're basically just waiting for the next visual cue, the next spell, the next action to go off, and then you have to immediately do your input. And then you have to be immediately ready for when your menu pops back up again so that you can either hide or do your next input too. So, I mean, the amount of focus that he's had probably for the last 25 to 30 minutes is just incredible. Looks like Scratch Dragon is struggling to find the right encounter, unfortunately, too, which is kind of rough.
Yeah, that can be a big pain. So, kind of nerdy housewife is fighting CPU, and it looks like she's going for just not being afraid of the Globe 99 and just rezzing, which not a bad strat considering she's got 5 party members that can deal with it. And actually she's immune, that's right, the adamant armor. Okay, well, that's incredibly good. She can just spam Quake all she wants.
Yeah, that'll get the job done eventually.
CPU not even having enough time to heal itself.
Nicely done there by kind of nerdy housewife, taking advantage of the protections of that adamant armor to kind of have a low stress CPU fight there. And it looks like Scratch Dragon finally found the D machine encounter here. So, Pidge, I'm sure you kind of are familiar with this. Do you want to just do a quick explainer on how the D machine grind works?
Sure. So essentially, we have a map. This is actually used in one of the vanilla FF4 speedruns. We have a map where if you reset your Super Nintendo and you walk around a certain pattern, you can actually like look up a chart of RNG to figure out which random encounter you're going to get, and exactly where you should go to get it. What this is you have a searcher, and searchers in this game, you slap them, and each searcher in each fight kind of like generates a different random enemy. This one is always going to generate a D machine, which is a dragon that gives you a ton of EXP when you kill it. But however, I think it has something to the effect of 17,000 HP, 20,000 HP. I forget the exact number. It's got a lot of HP. So normally what you want to do is you want to take a black mage along, somebody who knows weak, because the D machine is susceptible to weak, and weak takes it down to only a tiny little handful of HP, so much that like any physical attack will kill it. So while they're doing that, because the life glitch is activated, when you target an enemy with life and it dies before your life potion gets off on it, it actually revives them at 0 HP and counts as 2 kills. So you get double the EXP for 1 kill. So that's kind of what Scratch Dragon is doing, and every time you slap the searcher when there's no D machine on the field, it spawns another one, so you can just keep doing it over and over and over again to get all the EXP.
And while the explanation of the D machine grind was happening, Chokasura finally takes down that Zeromus and finishes in 3rd place with an official time of 57:52. So GG's Chokasura, holy cow.
Did anybody like track how long that Zeromus fight took? I'm actually gonna look it up.
I bet he knows how long it was.
Oh, I would absolutely bet.
Simbu's still kind of hanging tough here as well in his Zeromus fight. Surviving the big bangs, he did not nerf that one, so... he's in Meteo phase, but then the Meteo whiffs, so he should, fingers crossed, be able to finish this off now, because he just has to deal with a couple of those Meteos. Meteo is very easy to dodge when you're wearing a admin armor, so hopefully he can just finish this off now.
That Zeromus fight, he started at 35:08, so he did that single fight with no wipes in 22 minutes and 44 seconds. Incredible.
It's funny, you just kind of see Zeromus here doing, Meteo. He's trying so hard and nothing's happening because Fu just keeps evading that Meteo.
Zeromus is incredibly upset today. He's given us a whole lot of trouble.
I mean, he feels neglected. What are you gonna say beyond that? And there's the crack boom for Simbu. GG's to him. Official SRL time of 1 hour flat and 37 seconds. So GG's to Simbu.
And GG's to Simbu. We are also joined by Chokasura. Congratulations on 3rd place and being the first one on our restream to finish. How do you feel about that?
Man, as soon as I saw the crystal, I figured I had to do low-level stress because it would have probably taken too much time to look for the darkness crystal, considering what key items I had.
Okay, so my first question for you is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how brain fried are you right now from doing that Zeromus fight for the last 25 minutes or so?
Probably about a 9 because okay, first time I forgot I had Adam and Ortella and he was at 27 agility, so that wasn't going to work. And second time, I didn't realize that dire fruits didn't work on Zeromus, and then I accidentally moonveiled him, so I couldn't res Cecil anymore to do any more damage to him. That's probably why it took so long.
Yeah, we saw that happen. That was kind of unfortunate. But
Yeah,
were you keeping track of how long you were in there?
pretty much.
It was
I was
22 minutes and 48 seconds.
yeah,
You
I figured it was
that
going to be
is
20 plus minutes.
that's ridiculous. Like you didn't like just the fact that you went that long without like ever messing up like anything on Edward that would make you susceptible to Big Bang. You went for a whole 22 minutes just beating Zeromus with his like Edward has 200 health. That was amazing, dude. You were just in there for like almost half the race. That was awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm so impressed with the fact that he's held on this long and like he's just gonna do this like and just
Well, I mean, I had my calculator. I was keeping track of his health, so I figured once I settled into a pattern, then I must just go for it. Um, where was Darkness, by the way? I'm curious.
Darkness Crystal was behind the Tower Key, so you needed that, and I don't even Tower Key was
Tower Key.
Either Baron or Zot, if I remember right.
It was behind the rat tail.
Oh yeah, it was pretty. It was
tail?
pretty deep. Yeah, I think it was. It was basically everybody's 17th key item that we've been watching. So.
Oh, so where was the rat tail? I never found that either.
I think it was behind Baron.
Oh, okay, I see. Because once I got done with ordeals or Baron in, I went straight for Twin Heart and found the crystal. So I just decided to, forget Darkness. I'm not gonna try and look for it. I had marked Earth Crystal and Baron Key, so it could have been anywhere.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting to watch from our perspective as commentators because we were trying to kind of explain the different grind options to the chat, and then the different items that you would need to actually get to those. And one of them was maybe doing trapdoors, and Simbu had the Luca key, and you didn't have either the Darkness Crystal or the Luca key, so suddenly we noticed you going into the Zeromus fight, and we're like, or you just don't have to grind it all, and you can just do an Edward strat.
Right.
So.
I considered doing doors, but I just forget about that.
well, you got to do the doors after all.
Yeah, true. That is so true.
I was trying to just kind of explain to chat. I mean, maybe do you want to kind of talk about it in your words, like how intense it is to do those Edward strats for a long period of time? And I know there's a rhythm to it, but like you can't miss any inputs.
Right. Basically, it comes down to knowing Zeromus' script for one thing, and the second thing you really need is either a silk web or double slow. I didn't find silk webs, by the way, which was kind of unfortunate. But yeah, double slow or silk web, and you need to have like enough agility so you can have get a turn between Zeromus's turns, and then all it comes to is just keeping track of where he is in his script, and then coming out and then triggering his nuke without damaging him. So.
Well, I mean, to me, that sounds like a lot to keep track of. So good for you to keep that focus for as long as you did, and bringing it home there.
Oh, thanks.
It's very, very well done. And on that note, we're also joined by Simbu. You probably heard him in the call earlier, reminding us where the Darkness Crystal was. Congratulations on 4th place. I'm really sorry about that crazy, like, long 17 out of 17 almost that you had to do.
Yeah, the only thing I skipped was Antlion, which I guess had the spoon.
Yes, it did. That had the spoon, but you didn't have Edward, so that didn't really matter too much for you, like doing fights.
I did had Edward, but I just threw him away.
Yeah. I mean, like, go even like late game. We know it's going to Zeromus. You didn't have Edward, so you actually had like a totally different strat on fighting Zeromus than Chokosura did.
Yeah.
So how did you kind of approach that Zeromus fight? Because we saw you go in there and you definitely had the DPS with the Berserkers, but you were really susceptible to Big Bang.
Yeah, I was hoping that I would find another Cecil, honestly, so that I would have had enough DPS to just race through all the Big Bangs. And actually, when I saw this seed, I was hoping to do another 5 Cecil strat, but it never panned out because if there was another Cecil, I don't know where he was hiding. But, I mean, basically the ideal is to nerf the first Big Bang somehow, and your character should be able to survive at the HP I was at the first Big Bang with all the nice adamant armors and everything. And then you hope you have enough damage before he kills you.
Yeah, we were watching that, and it seemed like it was dicey but very doable as long as you didn't maybe take a counter nuke off the wrong character or something like that. So well done. I know you wiped the first time, but the second time it went really smoothly, it seemed like, for you for the most part.
Yeah, I kind of overestimated my DPS the first time, and I also wasted some turns trying to revive one of the Canes, and then just got him killed right again, so that was kind of silly, but just really put all my damage together. Had a little bit of a dicey end because the Meteo was coming up, but it could have went better if one of the nukes had hit, like my Fu, who would have survived, or Tella, who was useless. If that had happened, then it would have been a little bit nicer of a fight, but overall I don't really feel like grinding, so let's just try to kill Zeromus. At least it'll be fun.
I was saying, like, as you're going in, like, you know, if there's anybody who knows how to nerf a Big Bang, it's definitely Simbu. So I was like, oh my gosh, he's going in Sweater level. Oh, that's right, but he's like also really good at nerfing Big Bang. I think he'll be fine.
Actually, nerfing the Big Bangs was completely off the table, really, because best case scenario, I nerf a Big Bang and the nuke hits either the Zerkers who are still alive and kills them, or it hits Fu and then the Big Bang kills them. So
yeah, that's right.
Really, you had to DPS through the entire thing, and I was a hair bit lower than I wanted to be, but within margins that I was able to pull it off.
Yeah, you did, like, fantastic. Like, pulling through on that second attempt was awesome. I was, like, thinking you were going to go for nerfing the Big Bang, like, when you went in, and then that just didn't happen. You just played it like, someone who's really good at this game. Like, your Berserkers were all, like, super under-leveled, but you made it work with Fusaya, the last one standing at the end. Like, that was pretty awesome. We had, like, completely different strategies from all 4 of our runners tonight, so this has been, like, really cool to watch.
Yeah, I kind of wish that I had actually found the Earth or the Crystal earlier, because then I would have actually gone for Edward strats as well, and I really love my Edward strats. There's actually a newish technique you can do where you can actually revive Fu and have him use a Moonveil and cast Nuke on himself while Edward goes and hides. So you can actually still get damage done to Zeromus, and you don't have to deal with reflecting counter nukes. So
yeah, Choco is actually doing that with Paladin Cecil with a Crystal Sword and a Bacchus Wine. So yeah, I noticed that as well. That's pretty techy.
yeah, I mean, that's a good way to get through the first 40,000 damage or so, but then you have to put on the brakes because he'll refill his HP, and you don't want that. But you can actually still pull off some strats where, like, I think the most optimal way to do it is have a Moonveil or something already up on Edward. Then he can life Fu, Fu can nuke Edward, and then Edward can hide, and you can still kill Zeromus without refilling his HP. It's some pretty neat stuff. Edward strats are very interesting. But
It's more DPS that way too, isn't it? If you do it with Fu instead of triggering the counter nuke, right?
yeah, it's definitely a lot more DPS because the counter nuke is only like 2,000 damage and Fu is 7,000 damage.
Right.
So it only takes about 2 nukes if you have everything set up perfectly, but 3 at max.
Well, I'm sure we'll get a chance to see that from you sometime. That sounds really cool. So
it just shucks on that 16 out of 17, almost 17 out of 17. Skipping Antlion doesn't really count.
So just out of curiosity, is there any particular reason why you put off Twin Harp for a while, or was it just kind of like last on your priority list?
So I was thinking of doing the standard Twin Harp Earth Crystal into Baron, because that's a pretty standardized key item chain. But right when I decided to go to Twin Harp, I thought, I don't have anything to kill off all my characters for Dark Elf, so instead I'm going to go and get characters from Earth Crystal and Baron, and maybe I'll get me a second CISO, and then I can do my Zerk strats. So I was just really altogether too focused on trying to pull off multiple CISO Zerk strats and never found another CISO.
That makes sense. Because we know you like to give the people their music, so we were a little disappointed, frankly, that you put it off for as long as you did. But eventually you got there, and again, congrats on the 4th place finish.
I had to make sure everything else was seen too. I gave the people their music. I just had to make sure everything else was there too. I should have checked Temp Dwarf Job, I guess, as well.
Tisk tisk. Kind of just really quickly checking back into the live race here, by the way. We've got Scratch Dragon, who is having a surprisingly difficult time with this Zeromus fight, considering they actually went up and did a full-on D-Machine grind. So hopefully can kind of hold it together here and bring it home. I don't imagine there's too much Doramus left to whittle away at.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he has an effective anchor on his team. I'm not sure like what Kane's agility is, but if he's got an adamant armor, it's probably nothing good. That might be a factor. I don't know. It's a little hard for me to tell. Kind of nerdy housewife, on the other hand, she is also doing a grind before going to Zeromus, but instead of looking for the Darkness Crystal and doing Day Machine, she's opting to do the Trapdoor grind, and she is the only person on the restream tonight who went for the Trapdoors, so, you know, the Trapdoor maybe will be a little less angry at her when she gets to fight Zeromus.
I'm sure she's going to get a good chuckle out of that, too. In the meantime as well, we've had a lot of other finishes come in to the race. So Acre, 5th place with a time of 101.26. Rumblefish, 82, 6th place. Actually tied with Poydrak in 6th place. They both had a time of 103.11. 8th place, Crimson Avix with a time of 103.50. 9th place, BG Rich with a time of 106.16. 10th place, Salty Fairy with a time of 106.34.
Congratulations to all of our runners. And kind of nerdy housewife, she is done with her Trapdoor grind and is going to Zeromus.
And Scratch Dragon gets the flash and the finish there with a time of 1:15.42. So GG's to Scratch Dragon.
Welcome, Scratch Dragon. GG's on your finish on Zeromus.
Thanks. Ill. That run, I don't. Everything is wrong with it.
Do you were actually the first person on the restream to find the crystal. You found it long before anybody else did.
Yeah, I figured as much, but I when I found the pass, I was there like, let's just find the darkness crystal. We'll do the safe grind. And how far down the rabbit hole can it be?
Yeah. Choco Sora actually opted to do low-level Edward strats, and Simbu he got almost a 17 out of 17. He just went straight for Zeromus when he found the crystal. You were the only one on the restream to do the D Machine grind, because Kinda Nerdy Housewife was doing the trapdoors.
Yeah, I was considering doing trapdoors, but like I said, how far down could the darkness crystal be? I showed myself apparently.
Well, that's funny, and that was we were talking about it in the commentary booth here, and one of the things I said was when you have a really high-powered party like this, it always just feels like there's nothing in between you and that key item that you're looking for, except all the other key items that you're going to find before you get it. And I could tell in my head, I was watching you and I was like, that's probably what's happening with him. It's just really wants the darkness crystal so he can go do that grind, and it's just not coming.
Yeah. The other thing was I when I started going down into Babel, I'm there like, wait a second, I didn't check shops and I didn't pick up lives. All right, we're doing this the slow way. So yeah, this was not one of my better runs, so to speak, but it was still fun. I mean, I found a crystal. Up until that point, I felt ahead, and then how long it took me to find a darkness crystal put me so far behind.
So I've actually got a question for you that I've had in my notepad, I think, since the start of this race. How many of the free character checks did you do?
Of the free character checks? Basically none. At least none willingly.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting. Like, at the start of the seed, like, I think almost everybody else, like, bolted for Mysidia, Damcien to get all the free characters, but the only one I saw you grab was on Mount Ordeals. It's kind of interesting that you went to Mount Hobbs and the Baron Inn, but not any of the free places.
Well, okay, so here's my logic behind it. When I went to Troya, I found Zeus's Rages. I was just there like, okay, I don't need to look for characters. I have a way of beating bosses early. I have a Fusoya. Let's just go and we'll work our way around. So I hit Miss K first and found Fabul there. That was spectacular. Then I hit Octomom's spot and we killed that really quick, and I just worked my way around that way. And then there was really no reason to check for more characters because I had Fu. I just needed to kill bosses and then I would get nuke.
That's actually very interesting. That's cool. I never thought of it like that. That's skipping the free characters in NC turned off. That's really cool.
Yeah, I mean it's actually one of the old Appleseed strats that I had, because we started with a full power Fu on that. And the only reason I would pick up extra characters was A, if I found apple seeds, B, if I found another Fu, or C, I just needed another Fu. I needed some kind of meat shield, and that was the problem I had with this one, was that I didn't have a meat shield to sit between me and Zeromus. That's why I went to try and do a good grind, because you can, as much as I would like to say you can't solo Fu this. You really can't.
Yeah, and I'll just say from my experience with the free characters, I tend to side more with your line of reasoning, Scratch Dragon, which is it's nice to get those free characters, but you don't necessarily want to go out of the way just to do the checks, because if you can route them in, it's definitely going to be more efficient. And you always look like a genius when you go to that spot and it's an Edge or a Fu or something like that, but for each one of those, there's 3 or 4 of them where it's a Porum or an Edward or a Tella or Pidge Don't Kill Me, but a Dark Knight Cecil. So,
well, actually, Porum's my favorite character, so you're a little late on that.
Forgive me, Pidge, for I have blasphemed against you.
Every time I roll to see where the stars are Porum in payment, I'm like, yep, literally rolled for me.
Nice. But no, when I found the Porum at Hobbs, I was there like, okay, I have a black mage, I have a white mage, and I have a Fu. If I only had those 3 characters for the rest of the seed, I can finish the seed.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, oh, you know what? He's pretty much set. That was
right.
I think you were the first one to find a white mage, because nobody else went to Mount Hobbs. I think a few of the other racers did end up finding the Sand Ruby and grabbing Groza, but you were the only one that went to Hobbs, I think.
Yeah, it didn't fall into line this time around that the Darkness Crystal wasn't one of my earlier items. If it had been like at Baron or something of that nature, I would have been fine. But unfortunately, it just didn't roll out right for me.
Yeah, and honestly, like checking Hobbs with the F flag on really is actually kind of beneficial too, because it's just more free spells for Fu. So I'm with you for the most part. I agree that I like your line of reasoning.
Yep. The only mistake was not because I hate trapdoor grind. Like I hate it with a passion. It's so slow. I should have done trapdoor grind when I found 10 items, and I could have just gone on with my life. And I should also pick myself up one day and stop doing my no 64 learning and learn the Edward solo kill.
Well, you're not alone in that regard, and Chokasura basically made it as hard on himself as he possibly could tonight. So if you watch this back later, you'll kind of see some of the things that happened to him, and it's pretty crazy just the amount of focus you need to do that Edward kill. I also am kind of building up the fortitude to go maybe learn it myself at some point. But yeah, it's not for the faint of heart, that's for sure.
It's actually very tricky, and honestly, for anyone out there listening, I think it's actually harder than doing consistent Zeromus nukes, which I can do ish, but it's still not. It's not fun and it's not safe. So that's all I got.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, any last thoughts on the seed? Or I mean, I did you like the format with kind of the modified apple seed with no apples?
It was fine. I mean, no apple seeds or no apple seeds, no apples and no soma drops and no sirens made it the routing slightly different. So I was routing it in my head before we even started, because starting Fu is quite nice, and no moon, so no value in Cave Bahamut, which made me pretty happy.
Yeah, I hear you for sure. So, well, nice job again. Thanks for showing us everything. We always appreciate that when you're on stream, and the Twin Harp music and all the other stuff. So, GG's, and hope you have a nice evening.
Yep, GG's. Thanks for having me, guys.
GG's.
And we've got a kind of nerdy housewife here, just hopefully finishing things off here, not making this harder than it needs to be.
Oh no, her Rosa's down, but Fusoya doesn't have enough MP left to cast a Life 2, but I'm sure she'll find a way around that. That last Big Bang was kind of a rough hit on her part.
Yeah, definitely still in it, but Fu's gonna need a little pick-me-up here. No SMRPG pun intended.
No, the pick-me-up went to Rosa. In all honesty, though, pick-me-up's kind of broken. It's like a 4-coin item that heals you at full health from being dead. Yeah. Imagine this game with something like that.
Well, in this case, they're zero gold items that I guess don't technically heal you to full, but you know.
So her Paladin went down, but that's alright. He had to reflect on and couldn't be healed anyway, but ooh, it's a Meteo!
Scary Meteo. Oh, thank goodness. It didn't hit everybody.
Yeah, it only hit the Cane Man. It looks like she's got this in the bag.
I hope so. Direct nuke. I'm not sure if that was deliberate or not. Oh dear. Needs Rosa. Oh, Fu actually didn't die to that nuke. Okay, should be good now.
Oh yeah, he's doing good. He must have like hella armor on. Yeah, she's completely fine. That cure from Rosa, that just took care of things. This nuke should take out Zeromus good once and for all.
And good night. Yep, there we go. Nice job. GG's to kind of nerdy housewife.
GG's. And in fact, GG's to all of our racers. Let's see if she wants to hop in for an interview.
in the meantime, while we're checking that, if you're kind of relatively new to the free enterprise community, please check us out on the website ff4fe.com, and please join our Discord. Lots of great resources there for anybody who's curious about the game or looking to get better. We have 3 weekly races right now: Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. The Wednesday and Friday race are on this channel. And the Monday race is on a different channel, but you can get that information anytime you want on the Discord. But thank you so much for joining us tonight, and please come back again soon.
So, welcome, kind of nerdy housewife. GG's on your finish on Zeromus.
Oh my, 17 out of 17, yay!
Don't worry, you're not alone. In fact, I think almost everybody in that race, everybody on the stream except for Shokosura, I think, found all 17 key items.
You know that feeling when you're in the middle of a Zeromus fight and your star veil wears off and it totally throws off your rhythm?
Yes, I'm very familiar with that feeling.
Big
Should have
mood.
used a moon veil. I had moon veils. I could have used that, but I didn't.
So I kind of have a question for you. So what kind of determined the order in which key item checks you decided to make? Like, what was it that made you do something before Twin Harp or anything else like that?
Early on, I was just going to the character spots that also had key items just to try to find my final party. And then at the end there, I was just going for number of key items. I briefly thought for a second maybe I should go do Twin Harp before I do Tower, but then I'm like, well, there's 2 items in Tower and only 1 in Twin Harp. I just made the wrong choice.
That was just kind of the luck of the draw sometimes. I think almost everybody Twin Harp was checked after everything else. Cause I feel like Twin Harp is just one of those items that you find it and you're just like, I guess this is a check.
Yeah, 17 out of 17 is my punishment for not giving the people the music.
Well, that's all right, because the music was mandatory tonight, so we did end up hearing it.
Yeah, I gotta add as well. In addition to everybody getting to be the people's champion with the music tonight, you were the only person on stream who actually did the sealed cave door grind. Which, when you got to Zeromus, I'm sure you had a little bit of a chuckle when you saw the Zeromus sprite tonight.
Yeah, I let out a little ee when I saw the giant trapdoor. That was a pretty good one, actually.
Yeah, I lost my composure on stream when I saw that.
Yeah, I'm sure you were like, yeah, I got this. I've already taken down, 10, 12 of these already tonight. What's one more?
Yeah, there weren't any sirens, and it seemed like it'd be even more work to go all the way to the moon to grind, or go all the way through the giant to grind. And I knew I had the Luca key, because 17 out of 17, so I just decided to do a door grind.
Yeah, I think you went to do the door grind and Scratch Dragon did D-Machine. I was kind of wondering if everyone's going to do D-Machine, if everyone's going to do doors, and then 2 of the races actually didn't do either one. But it was kind of cool to see the difference in strats between all 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, we definitely got a lot of variety in the restream tonight, so that was really cool to see some of the different options that are on the table for everybody. So nicely done again. Do you have any other thoughts on the seed or how you played, or just anything that you saw along the way?
I think that's good. Have a good weekend, everybody.
And yourself as well. Thank you very much, Quest, for working for tracking, and Terasu for restreaming, and of course, Blaze, thank you for commentating with me tonight.
Absolutely, Pidge, anytime. Thanks everybody for the help. Thanks for tuning in, everybody out there in Twitch land, and we'll see you again soon.